All right, peace and love, family. I want to talk to you about different ways to hydrate your body, right? We're living cells, we're living organisms, right? And based off of the macro and the microcosm, whether we're talking about universe, world, our body, human bodies, and the cells within it, like we all come from uh, this earth, okay? So understanding that every living cell absorbs water in many different ways, right? Because we all have different functions, right? To which water actually supports. So more than just consuming water through a bottle, right? Which is one way of hydration, right? Our cell hydrates itself. We also hydrate ourselves through our skin, through our nose, right? And through the food that we eat, okay? So now let's break this down. You can hydrate yourself, right, through your body, through osmosis, right, which is water moving through from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. All right, so this is how water literally kind of moves inside and outside the cell, or through diffusion, right? Diffusion is literally moving the water inside and outside the cell. So think of ourselves, we're a hollow tube, right, from mouth to anus. So when we drink water and it goes through the process, right, and getting into our intestines, is literally diffusing outside, carrying the minerals and the nutrients and the oxygen, right? Which is another way of how we absorb water. It is through the moisture in the air, right? Because we know, as with Moses is doing, where he's taking the water out of the air and creating water, okay? So the gases within ourselves, right? Our nose is taking that oxygen, right? And dissolving that into the water so that it can diffuse inside the cell. All right, remember we have H2O, and what that does then, it then breaks it down into those constituents, okay? So it separates those molecules, right? The water molecules, right? So it takes it in, puts it together, and then it separates those things apart, basically just like a plant going through photosynthesis, right? It literally splits the molecules of water up, and you get hydrogen and you get oxygen, right? Or for a plant, it takes in carbon dioxide and spits out oxygen. Through cellular respiration, we take in oxygen and water, and we receive sunlight, and we split our water molecules, okay, as well, right? So this is a part of why we're always connected, right? And then you start to understand these things when you start talking about the skin, okay, and H3O2. All right, so H3O2 is literally locked up within the fruit, as we know, right? But we are the fruit of the earth. We wear the fruit of the looms, right? So like these things all make sense. And when we start to break these things down, our skin is a phospholipid bilayer, which is the cell structure of the wall cell structure, right? So how does the skin, right, of the watermelon holds the water inside of it, right? So I'm gonna give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. You see how this watermelon and juice itself, right? Because once again, there's a lot of water within the contents of the fruit itself. So what it does, from a higher concentration to a lower concentration, there's no water in the bowl. It's going to diffuse out of the watermelon into the bowl. All right, from a higher concentration to a lower concentration. All right, this is also how your kidneys actually pull water and regulate the flow of your pH. All right, because it'll hold salt, and that salt will literally pull the water outside of your tubules. Okay, so literally it creates the movement. All right, so and understanding how our skin has an oil protection all over it, right, is literally to trap the moisture inside. Okay, but then when we lather up and we put soap on ourselves, literally we're breaking that, and then guess what? We're absorbing the water, all right, through our skin. So it's another way. So now we're thinking, okay, how does one literally affects the other? Well, you have free water, which is water through a bottle that you drink and consume, that is literally going through the body. And just like as it goes into the fruit and gets stored and becomes H3O2, it becomes H3O2 within your body differently, right? because as it's going through your body, it's literally taking away the excess, the garbage, helping to balance acidity, buffer acidity, right? So you don't want it to start taking and robbing things, all right? But you do want to make sure that it is running just like the trash man and coming through and taking out the trash, right? And you don't want it to be stealing things along the way that you don't need it to take, okay? So this is what the basis of having natural spring water. Understand that it does have some type of structure to it as it goes through the environment, but it becomes H3O2 as it goes through and is locked and stored within the fruit, okay? So now, once again, we're the fruit. Our organs are fruits. So we have organs and we're organisms, all right? So as that water is stored, understand that the mineral contents of every different cell within your body is just like every different fruit, all right? Different fruits like bananas. Bananas have a lot of water in them, but they also possess potassium. So water in the banana is not going to come out just like the same way as water in a watermelon, all right? Because of the mineral content that is in it, all right? Different mineral contents it's gonna react differently, okay? So in saying these things, we have to understand that, you know, there's multiple different ways of consuming water, right, for our body. Some people say, all I do is just eat fruit and I'm good. Okay, well, how about the air you breathe? And this is why yoga is important, right? And you have to get that oxygen in, right, because that's proper, right? Or, you know, you might get a lot of lactic acid in your workout and you don't recover as quickly, right? Because you might need good spring water, right? To actually help flush a lot of those toxins and things like that to help, you know, reduce the lactic acid buildup that's in your body, okay? Or you might have tight joints, ligaments, and things of that nature, right? Well, then you might need to soak in some mineral water, some mineral baths, right? You know, you need to soak because the water absorbing through your skin actually helps to that process. Okay, so different ways of how we consume water and become hydrated, right, as a cell is going to work out different areas of our body. And it's extremely important that you understand that natural spring water is, yes, it's a basis. Alkaline water is a basis. But we have to know what alkaline spring water is. It's the ability to buffer an acidic load, okay? The body is always geared towards balance, and water helps to do that. It helps to balance the body, right? In more ways than one. So how you breathe it in, right? And it attaches itself to water molecules, right? To hydrogen ions, okay? Because you have free hydrogen ions moving through the body. So when you absorb and you take that deep breath in, that oxygen is allowing it to attach itself to hydrogen ions, and it's also helping to break down glucose into pyruvates in order to get it inside the cell in order to start the citric acid cycle, okay? So this is, you know, basically going inside the inner mitochondria of the cell, all right? It does not gain access without the oxygen attached to it, okay? And when you don't run out of oxygen, then it builds up and becomes lactic acid, and that's when you get the soreness and things of that nature, all right? So everything is connected, right? But we have to practice wholeness, and it all starts with the basis of foundation of water, all right? So I can't preach it enough. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure you stay following the drip, right, throughout our community, because there's multiple ways of where you can get herbs, where you can get the right food, where you can get the right yoga, massages. All these different things are in our community. And we have to be tapped into these things in order to get wholeness, wellness, health, all right? So peace and love. May the fight for balance continues inside the body and out. It's the Alkaline Man, Family Springs. I'm out.